If you wanted to get rich, where would you start? Property, shares, starting a business, trying to earn more money? Most people start with one of those, but I think all of those answers start too late. Because before you ever invest a dollar, there's something else determining every financial decision you make. You, what you believe about money, what you believe you're capable of earning, whether you see opportunity or scarcity, and whether you believe becoming rich is even a good thing. Getting rich doesn't start with money, it starts with your mind. More than 100 years ago, Wallace D. Wattles wrote The Science of Getting Rich. Now, some of this book gets pretty metaphysical. He talks about God, energy, and something called the formless substance. But underneath all of that, Wattles believed that getting rich was a result of learning to think and act in what he called a certain way. And after more than 10 years of building businesses and becoming a millionaire myself at 27, I think there's something incredibly powerful about that idea. Because the first step has nothing to do with making money, you need to become more. Wattles basically says that the purpose of life is development. As human beings, we're here to become everything we're capable of becoming. And I completely think that completely changes the way you look at money. Because often we're taught that wanting to become rich is somehow a bad thing. Rich people are greedy, wanting the beautiful house, traveling the world, or having nice things makes you materialistic. But I don't see it that way. To me, wanting a richer life means wanting to experience more of life, more freedom, more experiences, more choices, more ability to provide for the people you love, and ultimately, more opportunity to discover what you're actually capable of. And that's probably the part that excites me most. I just don't want to make more money. I want to see who I have to become to create it. Because if you want to become more successful, you have to become more valuable. You have to learn new skills, develop new ideas, make better decisions, solve bigger problems. And as you become more valuable to the marketplace can reward you far more. So don't feel guilty for wanting wealth. Ask yourself, who will I have to become to create it? But even if you give yourself permission to become wealthy, there's another belief that can stop you. The belief that there isn't enough to go around. And Wattles calls this living on the competitive plane. You look at somebody else's success and think, they got the opportunity, they got the customers, they got the money, so there's somehow less available for you. Wattles argues that you have to move from the competitive plane to the creative plane. In simple terms, stop worrying about taking your piece of the pie and start thinking about how you can create the bigger pie. I've experienced this in my own business. I remember the first time I made more than $100,000 profit in a month. At one point, that number would have seemed enormous. Then eventually we did more than $200,000 profit in a month. And the number that once looked impossible started to become normal. It's the same when I see private equity groups coming to Australia and buying companies. I don't think, shit, they're taking all the opportunities. I think, what are they seeing that I'm not seeing? Because their success is evidence that the opportunity exists. And that's become one of my default questions. If they can do it, why can't I? Their success doesn't reduce what's possible for you. It can expand your idea of what's possible. But abundance doesn't mean sitting around waiting for money to arrive. Wattles gives us much more practical rule. Give people more in-use value that you can take from them in cash value. In other words, create more value, solve bigger problems, help more people become more useful. Because the creative way to become wealthy isn't figuring out how to take more from the world, it's figuring out how to give the world something worth paying you more for. And once you believe the opportunity exists, the next question is, what exactly are you trying to create? This is where Wattles gets pretty metaphysical. He essentially argues that thought gives form to the substance around us. Whether you believe that literally or not, there's a practical idea underneath it that I absolutely believe. Everything you create physically has to be created mentally first. A business starts with an idea. A house exists in an architect's mind before it's built. And I believe wealth works the same way. I remember sitting in an office at my grandma's house years ago. I'd been thinking about Stephen Covey's idea to begin with the end in mind. So I wrote down a goal. Become a millionaire before 30. One of my best mates at the time looked at it and basically said, a millionaire? Is that all? So I changed to become a multi-millionaire before 30 and I put it on the wall. But nothing magically happened. Money didn't start suddenly falling out the sky. But I looked at the goal every day. And because I kept seeing it, I kept thinking about it and my questions started changing. How do I build the business? What should I invest in? Who understands this? What do I need to learn? I paid for coaches and mentors. I read more than 100 books on investing. I took courses and I started noticing opportunities I'd previously ignored. I took bigger risks and gradually my behavior started aligning with the picture I'd been holding in my mind. At 27, I made about $1.1 million in a year. But here's what's interesting. Achieving the number felt great. I celebrated it and then the feeling passed. What was far more valuable was who I became in the pursuit of it. A clear thought doesn't replace action. It gives your action direction. So get specific about what you want. Write down, look at it, think about it, because when the destination becomes clear enough, you start asking different questions about how to get there. And eventually you have to start becoming the person who belongs there. Waddles says you should think and speak about the things you want in terms of present ownership. Now, I'm definitely not saying pretend you're rich, max out your credit cards, and buy a Lamborghini you can't afford. See, that's complete stupidity. I'm talking about how you speak to yourself about what's possible. I've always been careful with the words, I can't afford that. If I see a house, a car, or even a private jet I want, my natural response isn't, I could never have that. It's, yeah, I can have that. I just need to figure out how. See, there's a massive difference. One closes a door and the other creates the question. How could I afford that? What would I need to earn? What would I need to build? Who would I need to become? Sometimes I'll even look at $1 million and deliberately think it's only $1 million. And not because the $1 million isn't significant, but because I don't want to make the number psychologically bigger than it needs to be. This isn't about ignoring reality, right? If you're earning $1,000 a week, don't spend $1,000 on dinner and call it abundance. You still have to make intelligent financial decisions. The point is, don't let your current financial position become your future identity. Start thinking, speaking, and making decisions like the person you're trying to become. There's another practice that Waddles puts enormous emphasis on: gratitude. Every morning when I meditate, I deliberately think about what I'm grateful for. And most nights when I journal, I do the same. But I try to practice gratitude when things go wrong as well. Because instead of asking, why is this happening to me? I can ask, what can I learn from this experience? See, Waddles believes that gratitude connects you with greater abundance. And I personally believe there's an energetic element to it. But even at a purely practical level, gratitude changes where you put your attention. Instead of constantly reinforcing what's missing, you start noticing what's actually there. The opportunities, the progress, the people, the lessons. But here's the trap. You can think abundantly, visualize exactly what you want, practice gratitude every morning, and still never become rich. Because eventually you have to fucking do something. And this is where I think people completely misunderstand books like this. You can visualize the house, tell yourself you're going to become a millionaire, meditate every morning, but if you sit on the side of a hill thinking about rainbows and butterflies all day, you're probably not going to get rich. Even Waddles makes this incredibly clear. He puts it much more metaphysically than I would. His argument is essentially that thought helps bring what you want towards you, but action is how you receive it. However you interpret the first part, the second part is undeniable. You have to act. But my philosophy around action has changed as I've gotten older. See, when I was younger, I thought success was about doing more. Huge to-do lists, tick things off all day, and to be fair, I got a lot done. But eventually I realized being busy and moving forward aren't the same thing. Today, I'm much more ruthless with my time. Every day I ask, what's the most important thing I could work on today that will actually move my life or business forward? And wherever possible, I'll spend 3 to 4 hours doing deep, uninterrupted work on that one thing. Because Waddles makes another point that is just as important. It's not simply the number of things you do, it's the efficiency of each action that counts. One important task can create more wealth than ticking 100 meaningless things off a to-do list. Not every day is perfect. Look, I have days where I'm tired, days where I can't be screwed, but the default is forward movement. Because wealth requires participation, you can't build an extraordinary life from the sidelines. Think clearly, know what you want, identify the highest value action in front of you and do it. And there's one final distinction that Waddles makes that I really love. He says you'll probably get rich most easily doing what you're naturally best suited to do, but you'll get rich more satisfactorily doing what you actually want to do. And I think sometimes what you're doing right now is simply the vehicle that gets you there. I'm doing that myself. I absolutely love the business I'm building today. It's been an incredibly valuable vehicle for building wealth. But I also know where my heart lies. Teaching, coaching, mentoring, helping people become more than they thought they could become. That's where I ultimately want to end up. And your answer might be completely different. So ask yourself, if money was completely taken care of, what would you spend your life doing? Because getting rich while spending your entire life doing something you hate isn't my definition of wealth. You don't have to quit tomorrow. Your current career or business might be the vehicle that allows you to eventually do what you love. But ultimately, I think the greatest form of wealth is being financially rewarded for doing something you genuinely love. Because the money matters, but the life you're creating with it matters more. And that's what I ultimately took from the science of getting rich. Getting rich doesn't start with money, but I don't think it ends with money either. It starts with becoming more. Creating a clear picture of what you want, creating value for other people, and then taking focused action to make it real. Property, shares, businesses can all help you build wealth, but the vehicles, you're the person driving them. So before you spend your entire life searching for the perfect investment, spend some time working on the investor. Work on your thinking, work on your skills, work on your value, work on yourself. Because perhaps the real science of getting rich isn't simply learning how to accumulate more, it's learning how to become more. And I'd love you to answer one question in the comments. If money was completely taken care of, what would you spend your life doing? And if you want more practical videos on wealth, business, mindset, and some of the ideas I've taken from books and other people I've studied over the years, subscribe. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Simon, and I'll see you in the next one.